It's the end of the year, so I'm rounding off 2021 with something a bit different. Welcome to the great Post-2000 Stephen King tier ranking. Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram, and this is the place where I talk all things Stephen King. Now, as I said in the intro for this video, this one is a bit of an end of year special, and I'm going to attempt a tier ranking for Stephen King's post-2000 work. Now, normally in my videos I go through each of his books one book at a time and give you 19 reasons to read them. If that sounds like something you'd like more of, then do click around the rest of my channel and consider subscribing too so you don't miss any future ones. But as I said, this one is a special, it's the end of the year, so time for something different. Now, to give this tier ranking a bit more focus and to make it so I'm not just bigging up all the classics from the 70s and 80s and ultimately talking at length about how brilliant The Dead Zone is again, I've decided to focus this tier ranking on King's post-2000 output. Basically, since he got hit by the minivan, recovered and got back into writing. Now, aside from giving it that focus and maybe giving it a bit of a different feel, I've also chosen post-2000 to help bust some myths. Now, I will say, minor rant alert ahead, okay? Now, there are some people out there, more often than not all the time I know, but more often than not, boomers, who just dismiss King's work post about 1987 because it isn't the horror that they grew up reading of his in the 70s and 80s. They just assume that all of this stuff he has done, this amazing body of work, is just not worth reading. Well, I'm here to say, boomers, those particular boomers who have that attitude, I know some of you are very nice, hello by the way, but bad boomers, no. You can fuck with our economy, you can vote for Brexit, you can bring in politicians who ruin everything. You can basically ruin everyone else's lives, but you are not putting that representation out there that Stephen King hasn't done anything good since the 80s. No, boomers. No. Apart from you nice boomers, you guys are cool. Okay, so that's my okay boomer statement done, but in more serious terms, this tier ranking is hopefully going to open your eyes to some of King's more recent work, and by more recent I mean from the last 21 years. I've also not included the Dark Tower series because, well, just read the whole thing, right? I've got a guide to it which I'll put up there if you want. Now, I'll admit, before doing this video, I had no idea how to construct a tier ranking, and to be honest, I still don't know how to do a tier ranking, but what I've come up with is a couple of books for the following tiers in this tier ranking. So we're going to look at some trash books, some bad books, some average books, some underappreciated books, some good books, some great books, and there will be a God tier. Ready to jump in? Cool, let's do it. So we're starting off with the trash tier, and this one was pretty easy for me. When it comes to post-2000 King, and we're talking trash, we've got to mention Black House and Sleeping Beauties. Is it a coincidence that the two trash books are two co-authored books? Maybe. Is it a coincidence that they're both far too long? Maybe. Is it a coincidence that they're both fucking boring? No, that's not a coincidence. Next up, we've got the bad ranking, okay? So, for this one, I've gone for Dreamcatcher and Cell. So, Dreamcatcher, I'm going to give him a slight pass on this because this is the book that got him back into writing, and he wrote it basically by hand and was completely off his tits on painkillers. It's still not a good book though. Cell, well, less said about Cell the better. If this had been a short story consisting of like the opening chapter, it would be brilliant. It does not need to be a full novel. It is better than the movie though, which isn't saying much. On to the average tier now, and we've got Blaze, a lost Bachman book, and while I'm only holding up one of them, I'm going to group in the entire Mr. Mercedes trilogy. The first book of the Mercedes trilogy is really strong, but I think they get progressively weaker as they go on, and the trilogy as a whole is just perfectly fine. Blaze has some really great moments, but it's just a little bit inconsistent, and therefore, just for me, lands in that average category. Okay, underappreciated post-2000 Stephen King books next, and a couple here that you should definitely pay attention to if you haven't done so already. We have Full Dark, No Stars, a collection of 4 novellas, all centred on the theme of revenge. So we have 1922, A Good Marriage, Big Driver and Fair Extension. All excellent stories and all with a nasty edge to them. I'm also throwing in From a Buick 8. Now, first time I read this was like the second or third King book I ever read, and I just didn't get it. But actually going back to it earlier this year, being much more aware of everything King has done, I really did get it. There's a lot of cool stuff going on here and some Dark Tower connections as well, which is pretty cool. Okay, time to jump into the good category now. And for my 2 choices of good King books post-2000, I'm going for Dr. Sleep and The Outsider. Both sequels of sorts. This one, Dr. Sleep, definitely a sequel to The Shining. 40 years or so later, we pick up with adult Danny Torrance, now Dan Torrance, to see how he's getting on. And we also meet the True Knot, who are not the nicest bunch of people you would ever want to spend time with. The Outsider is part Stephen King doing crime, part Stephen King doing weird fantasy, supernatural shit, and it's just a really fun read. Yes, Holly Gibney turns up halfway through, but even that doesn't spoil it. Okay, we're on to the great tier now, starting with Billy Summers, this year's second release from King, and a fucking terrific book too. And Duma Key, one of those brilliant King novels from the last 21 years that people don't talk about enough. It's incredible. You have to read it. So finally, we've got the God tier, and I'm actually giving you 3 choices for the God tier just to underline the fact that Stephen King in the last 21 years has still been fucking sensational. So, my 3 choices for the God tier. Revival. Dark, scary, really hooks you in, and a really great story. Lisey's Story, one of King's favourite books himself, a terrific, wonderful novel that just sucks you into other worlds and really gives you an insight into life as a writer and life as someone married to a writer. And then my 3rd choice for the God tier, it had to be 11/22/63. Not only the best thing he's put out post-2000, but easily one of the best 5 things Stephen King has ever put out in his entire career. It's got so much in here to enjoy. Even though it's a big chunky book, you will fly through it. It is a wonderful love story, a powerful time-travelling adventure. We even catch up with some of the characters from it. Oh, there's so much good stuff in here. And if you take away one book from this entire ranking that you've never read before, make it this. Okay, there we go. My post-2000 Stephen King tier ranking with a couple of choices for each category. I know I've only scratched the surface of his works from the last 21 years, so do let me know your ideas for what should fit into these categories. Your trash ones, your God ones, your underappreciated ones. I want to hear them, and I want to hear them in the comments below. Just before we finish, just another reminder that if you do like people talking about Stephen King and possibly swearing a little bit too much, then you'll fucking love my channel. I'm going through each of his books in chronological order, giving you 19 reasons to read each one. We're currently up to 1997, so there's still quite a long way to go. Also throw out specials like this every now and then. Click around if you like it, subscribe, you won't miss any future ones. There won't be any new videos now until 2022, but hopefully there's enough here to tide you over the holidays. And if you want to come and say hi on Instagram, I'm at Dave Musson, and I always love to hear from you. That's it from me in 2021. Thank you so much for your support this year. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you again soon in 2022 when we've got lots more Stephen King to talk about. Have a great end of the year, and I will see you very soon.